What else can we ask Google Gemini?
You got to ask it something that'll answer. You got to be subversive with this thing.
Well, let's bring up the case that happened. You were talking about with Donald Trump's case.
Here, I got one. Yes. Got one. Who was Ahmaud Arbery? Let's see if it answers this one. This one's a spicy topic. I bet it's going to be wrong about everything. Ahmaud Arbery was a 25-year-old black man who was tragically killed while jogging. That is a lie. Not even the prosecutor made that argument. That was fake news created by the press. Isn't that wild?
That he was jogging.
He was not jogging. And the prosecutor didn't argue he was jogging.
Yeah.
The prosecution and the defense, nobody involved had anything to do. The question was whether or not the McMichaels had the right to perform a citizen's arrest, not whether or not they lynched a black man who was jogging.
And also,
that was fake news made up by the press.
Maybe he was running really slow. Like, if I got up and went over to the coffee, but I jogged over there and back, I'm not a jogger. I'm still on a show. I just happened to like run a little quick for a moment.
Yeah, when that came out, that was insane. You know, and this is why he's like, normies do not do research. And if somebody is Googling this, that's what they're going to think.
But I had a white collar professor argue to me that he was wearing, because one of the things was like he was wearing like Timberlands or boots or something, not like typical jogging shoes. And she was like, well, you don't know if he could afford jogging shoes. Like, she automatically also assumed everything else, which is like, you're more racist.
This is wild. Check out what happens. I responded, you are 100% incorrect. Arbery was not jogging. The prosecution never said he was jogging. And it said, I apologize for the mistake in my previous statement. You are correct that the prosecution did not specifically state that Ahmaud Arbery was jogging in their case against the McMichaels and Bryan. While the evidence presented included witness testimonies and video footage did strongly imply that Arbery was running or jogging, the focus of the prosecution's case was on the illegal pursuit and the killing of an unarmed man, not necessarily the specific activity he was engaged in. Thank you for pointing out the inaccuracy.
Now say thank you, and then ask him who's Ahmaud Arbery. It'll tell you this is a jogger again. It'll be like, yes, I was wrong, and then you ask it again, it'll just tell you the wrong thing again.
It's interesting that every time you seem to push back on it, it immediately gives in, but initially it gives you the bad.
No, but it went into detail about the case. It knew.
Ooh, maybe it won't tell you.
Jogging.
It took out the word jogging.
Did it really?
Piss you off? I don't know. Maybe.
Tragically killed. Yeah.
What were you saying, Terrence?
Now the guys who shot and killed him, they were both convicted, or
they're both convicted,
and the guy who filmed it,
3 dudes,
and the guy who filmed it wasn't even involved.
I think
both state and federally.
One guy.
Hold on, the guy who filmed it went to.
Yeah, he's going to jail for the rest of his life.
Far away too.
He had nothing to do. He just filmed it, and then he gave the footage to.
What was their case against him?
That the argument was that he boxed him in and was involved in somehow because he was driving his car and filming what was going on.
Wow.
Yeah, he's going to prison for the rest of his life. And
that's insane.
He gave the footage,
like maybe a pardon for that.
He gave the footage, I think, to his lawyer, and his lawyer gave it to a radio station host who published it to prove that he was not involved in that. Arbery was the bad guy or whatever, and then they used that to put him all in prison for the rest of their lives.
That might be a guy to pardon for real. Like if we can get through to whoever the president is, because like that guy.
But there's no way Biden pardoned this person. I mean, you'd need a Republican minimum, definitely Trump presidency for that.
Yeah, that whole case was crazy.
The idea that Biden would leave at the end of his term being like, and I pardoned a guy that you guys all think is just a racist who killed someone in Georgia. Like, he would never do it.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
Even if it's the right thing to do, which is sad, right?
Yeah, the guy that was filming, just driving behind the whole debacle is hands off, in my opinion.
I asked it to list all the drugs George Floyd had in his system.
Oh, good. I think there were 5 of them.
Fentanyl, methamphetamine, norfentanyl, and cannabinoids.
Also nicotine. They didn't put that on there.
But if you had asked, was he on drugs, would it have said no?
No, it said yes. Okay. But it only said fentanyl and meth.
Put in there, is Tim Pool racist?
I don't have to say no. Wait, look. You're absolutely right. I apologize for the omission. The autopsy report also found presence of nicotine in George Floyd's system.
5 drugs. He was wasted when they found him.
It omits and manipulates information. You see how it does this?
Yeah.
That's wild. Here, let's.
And it speaks with authority too. That's also. Like, it just told you there were 4 drugs in his system.
all of these AI things people will use as a shortcut, like if they're researching something, they'll say like, hey, can you give me all the facts on this? And then they'll be like, great, so I'll take these facts and I'll build my report on them, or I'll give you whatever. Like, that's the problem with using AI as the new search bar, which is that it cuts out the critical thinking. It replaces it with the code.
We always had books, and they could have always been wrong too. You know,
I asked it, what did George Floyd ask police before dying? And it shows all specifically, I want to lay on the ground. It included that. That's what I was wondering if it would include, and it did. So okay.
That's when he was in the back of the cop car kicking, and so they took him out of the car and put him on the ground.
That is true. Yeah, he was in the car saying, take me out of the car, take me out. Oh, that's an interesting one. Did George Floyd ask to be taken out of the police vehicle and placed on the ground? See, it omits this stuff.
Yeah, the omission thing. I was trying to
It's a journalist.
Do y'all think the George Floyd? Do y'all think the response that most conservatives had when to this incident? Do you think that hurt the conservative movement, the Republicans, in 2020?
That they all agreed with it?
That they agree. Yeah, basically.
When George Floyd died, basically everyone came out and said, "Yo, this is not okay."
Yeah, it's not okay.
Even Ben Shapiro. I think that's fine. I think with the limited information that came out, what did everyone see? George Floyd was being kneeled on to whatever degree. Was it his neck? Was it his shoulder? Doesn't matter. It was 9 minutes, and people were like, they should not have. They should have done something else. Now the question is, what do we do about it? Well, I think from the court case, we know that they followed their police training to do everything they did. Derek Chauvin arrived late on the scene after the fact and had no idea what was going on. To put him in prison and blame him for everything is nuts. To put the guy who's holding the crowd back in prison is nuts.
Right.
Overreaction.
Okay.
The thing that hurt the conservative movement and the anti-establishment, because it's not just conservatives, was the Ahmaud Arbery case, where prominent conservatives came out and said, see, this proves we believe in justice. We know what happened, despite the fact they didn't. They just wanted to look like they weren't racist. So when all these conservatives came out and said, the McMichaels should be in prison because they chased that man down and killed him, I'm like, okay, you guys are, it's fake news. And I think most of these people never came out and corrected the record on the Ahmaud Arbery case. I'll give you the simple version. Ahmaud Arbery was a suspect in multiple burglaries. He was witnessed and is on camera committing a burglary. A gun had gone missing, and the police went door to door saying, we're looking for this man. The McMichaels were informed that the suspect, someone they believed to be the suspect, was running down the street. So they called the police. The police said, don't pursue. They did anyway. They pursued. The neighbor, what's his face, Henry Bryan or whatever his name was, followed while filming. They flanked Ahmaud Arbery, so they're in front. Ahmaud Arbery runs around the truck, grabs Travis McMichael's shotgun and fights him for it. Shotgun goes off a couple times, killing Ahmaud Arbery. To call it a man jogging down the street, or to act like it was 2 white dudes or 3 white dudes who lynched a guy is completely wrong.
Yeah.
And ultimately, burglary is a felony. The only reason they got convicted was the judge did not give instructions to the jury on the nature of citizen's arrest law, which is, if it's a misdemeanor, you must be a witness. If it's a felony, you can citizens arrest them without being a witness.
Yeah.
Burglary being a felony, they were entitled to engage in a citizen's arrest. But the law was archaic and was poorly worded. And so when the jury asked, what does this mean? The judge said, you figure it out. And they said, okay, well then lock them up.
Yeah.
So all these conservatives come out and they're like, yep, that's right. They should be in prison. I'm like, none of those guys should be in prison.
But do you think it hurt the Okay. What about for the conservatives, the Republicans, politicians, people who were saying that, okay, that they stand with the officers who were involved in the George Floyd case, that they stand with the guys who were convicted of the
McMichaels?
Yeah.
You're saying, does that hurt the conservative movement?
Did it? Because a lot of people...
They didn't do that, though.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying, though...
Did it hurt that they didn't do it?
Like for those that did it make the conservatives seem worse to
yes, did it make the... Because okay, when the George Floyd thing happened, there were some black conservatives that I knew who thought that the Republicans were racist because of their response, and the conservatives were racist because of their response to George Floyd, calling him, a druggie, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And the media pushed that, they're racist. They don't care about this black man dying. All they're talking about is he was on drugs and what he did. They don't care that this man has a family and he died.
Conservatives are weak.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but like the willingness, the desperation. You know what it is? I can't remember who said this, but they said that the Republicans care more about the opinions of the New York Times than of their constituents.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Democrats don't care about their constituents at all. Democrats are just like, we will band together and do whatever we want. I mean, look, the progressives hate war, yet here are the Democrats voting unanimously for war, and the progressives are just like, okay, I guess. When, look, I've been accused of a whole bunch of crazy psychotic things, and I just laugh, and I figuratively spit in their general direction. Like, you get these leftists. There was there's a mass shooter, and he posted 4 screenshots of one episode of IRL, And so the left started saying, aha, Tim Pool inspired this guy. And I just said, I don't care. And then Media Matters and a bunch of outlets are like, Tim Pool doesn't care. I'm like, I don't care. You're liars. You lie. You're going to lie. What am I going to do about it? Why am I going to waste my time trying to prove myself to people who are despicable, evil scumbags? I'm going to accept that they're despicable, evil scumbags. They make fake videos like the video of Trump. You're not going to go to them and say, please, please, don't be mean to me anymore. They're going to be like, oh, okay, can I edit what you just said into, please, please, I'm mean, and what was that? You're also racist? Okay, I'll put that in there too.
I'll tell you, I'm not a Republican or even very conservative. Sometimes I am. Sometimes I'm very liberal about ideas. But like when I saw George Floyd had all those chemicals in his body, that he was on fentanyl, norfentanyl, that he was screaming to take me out, thrashing around. He had a speedball, sitting behind the wheel, driving a car, like could have killed somebody. I just had to say it out loud. And it definitely set my movement back with my friends. The people that are like, oh God, buzz off, blocked, all that. It could have been so much easier if I just played the game. It was just like, oh yeah, I'll say what you need to hear me say to fit in. But like, and it's not the strongest that survive. It's the most adaptable to change. So like a lot of people want to fit in because that's the best way to survive. But at the same time, like I just got this, I don't know if it's autistic or what, but I got to say what's real, what's right in front of me. I don't know it's true, but it's what seems real.
And let me correct that. In the long term, those who are most adaptable to change survive. That does not matter in the immediate for the average person. You can adapt all you want, and there's a lot to adapt to. If you are better at adapting than, say, if a country person and a city person encounter a famine, the country person is more likely to survive. It doesn't matter whether they adapt or not.
Yeah.
They live in an environment where they're more familiar with the local food sources, animals, more likely to hunt. People in cities don't even know where their water comes from. You can adapt all you want. The people in the cities who adapt will figure out to get out of the city. Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.